Welcome back to the Best of the X show. You know, when I see my grandfather walking around all day in his pajamas, I find it disturbing. But when Hugh Hefner walks around all day in his pajamas, I find it arousing. Go figure. Here talking to the legend himself is our very own Jillian Barbary. Look, listen, and learn from the master.
What we decided to do is we're looking at the American Man and the periodicals that you peruse on occasion. And I do too. I'm a big lover of Playboy.
You can throw up. You can appreciate.
Absolutely,
I'm still
I do.
waiting for that Janine tape back. Now that you mentioned
All right,
it.
easy, partner. I said periodicals, not tapes, not videotapes. So we were wondering what makes the American Man.
Are you saying you don't have my Janine tape?
No, I haven't. Janine,
all right. That's all I just want to clear it up.
All right, so basically every week we are going to be meeting with the movers and shakers of Hollywood, the men who make the American Man what he is today.
Right.
And it's quite frightening.
Great.
Great. Anyway, we're going to do it.
Explaining to do if you ask.
That's right. Well, they do. And we hooked up with the biggest man of all. When you think of men and Playboy, you think of Hugh Hefner.
Right.
I hooked up with him in this edition. It's a new segment. I hope you enjoyed it. It's called Editor's Notebook.
Editor's Notebook.
Hey there, X-Show fans. Have we got a treat for you tonight? Welcome to Editor's Notebook. I'm Jillian Barbary, and in this new segment, I'll be sitting down with the big guys of Hollywood, the heavy hitters, the publishers, directors, and producers whose magazines, movies, and shows have made the American man the big hunk of good-loving and hard-living we women love so much. Tonight, I'm at the legendary Playboy Mansion to talk to the man who started it all, Hugh Hefner. All right, first of all, Hef, thank you.
My pleasure.
You were great. I'm just kidding. Okay. They just joined us.
Nothing.
Do you have a favorite issue?
Well, I suppose the first issue is my favorite because that's where it all began. Sure.
Is that amazing for you to see that as a young man,
Yes,
that
sure.
all of your dreams right there in one issue?
Yes.
And do you remember her name, the centerfold that year?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, her name was Marilyn Monroe.
That was a pretty big one.
Yes.
So how did you acquire the rights to those pictures, speaking of which? We've got that right here. It's incredible.
Well, they belong to, the photographs were shot by Tom Kelly. The rights were owned by a calendar company, Baumgarth Calendar Company, out on the west side of Chicago, not too far from where I grew up on the west side.
Well, this is amazing to me because back then it was scandalous and you created, I mean, you were setting a new sort of trail for others to follow. When do you think, what was the turnaround where suddenly you became the most respected man in publishing?
Well, I
magazines?
think that it happened in the 60s and was interconnected to the arrival of the sexual revolution.
Right.
In other words, we'd been around for a decade and making the case for a sexual revolution, and indeed I began a editorial series called The Playboy Philosophy in 1963. The miniskirts arrived,
Right.
Sexual liberation arrived, and a lot of that is also related to the arrival of the pill in 1960. In other words, the arrival of the pill set women free.
And now the arrival of the little blue pill is setting men free.
Everybody
May I
free.
say.
Yes.
And women too, because they're, come on, they're getting satisfied by the Viagra.
Of course. Well, it knocked down the boundaries in
Yeah.
terms of age and sex and everything else.
And how's that going? Good?
Very well for me.
Really?
Yeah.
So jealous. So, do you think you need the 3 girlfriends because you're on the Viagra, or is that just sort of like a cause and effect, or not really?
I think that it, it's the egg and the chicken. I mean, who knows which came first? But
Right.
the girls came first, and I think.
You like? Let me ask you this. You like the blondes? I see a lot of the blondes in the book. And
Although I've been emotionally involved with, I went with Barbie Benton for a long time.
That's
My
true.
first wife was a brunette. But there is something.
do you think that there's something innate about men that are drawn to blondes when they see them in the magazines? They're lighter and not necessarily. I mean, the curtains don't always have to match the carpet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you
I
can be
think-
blonde up here, you can be darker down there.
I think that the curtains ideally should match
Really?
the carpet. Yes,
Well,
I think so.
I guess I know. What I like about Playboy is that you've always maintained that image. You haven't changed with the times. In other words, it's not smutty. You'll never show a woman's, the whole crotch cam thing. Do you think that it can go too far? Not Playboy, but do you think that we as a society can go too far with
Well, obviously, it's one of the dangers of democracy. I mean, freedom requires responsibility. But I think in terms of a lot of these things, it is very much defined. It's like beauty. It's very much in the eye of the beholder.
Have you ever published anything that you regret?
I don't think so. We pretty well, stayed the course from the very beginning, even when the competition got heated in the 60s and rather in the 70s and early 80s. There were temptations. We could have published the Miss America photos and passed on them because she was the first
Vanessa Williams, right?
First black Miss America, and I couldn't do that. And also the Jackie Onassis pictures that were shot. Those were offered to Playboy first. So there's a line, and so no, there really isn't anything I don't think that I've ever published that I regretted.
Are you a boob man?
Yes, I can be. Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Sure, yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's terrific. Mine are real.
So. Well then.
Just thought I'd throw that in
there.
there.
There you go. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. Have you noticed any side effects from the Viagra? Diarrhea? Rash?
No. Just a big smile.
Nauseousness?
None of that stuff. I know. I understand that it works, differently for different people.
And it works very well for you.
Very well indeed. I think it was made for me.
Have you ever had to resort to masturbating?
Of course. Sure.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
Now, do you ever look at some of the issues? Because you're the most beautiful women in the world, and it seems like there's always women around you that are there to do it for you. I mean, you're like this entity that wouldn't have to touch his own penis if he didn't have to.
Well, I like my own penis. I'm not touching it.
Is it hard having 3 girlfriends? I mean,
It's got to be hard to have 3 girlfriends.
well, I guess that's where the Viagra comes in. But I mean,
no,
do they
as
ever
a
get
matter
your
of
nerves?
fact, no. It obviously depends on the girls. In this case, no, because they're there's a bonded phenomena here that they're very close. I mean, they're just 2 of them are twin sisters, and another is a classmate who grew up with them, from early childhood. So
you have
we're good friends, and it's really like, and I think that a part of all of this for me is a kind of way of holding on to childhood and your youth. It's we're like kids at play.
Well, you guys have movie night and everything.
Yeah, sure. And we went to Disneyland a second time here.
Okay, so that's got to be a strange visual right there. You guys are just at Disneyland. Did they close the park down for you? It's just a regular day in the park.
Regular day. Yeah, a very nice one. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
There are so many men out there watching this right now that would love to be in your slippers. Who would you like to be for a day if you could trade places?
I wouldn't trade places. There is no second choice.
That's it. You're doing
Not for
exactly
me.
what you want to do.
Absolutely. I know I'm the luckiest guy on the planet.
And the most important question, Hugh, of course, how can we improve the X show?
I haven't given that a lot of thought. I mean, I have seen it because, the twins were on it. And,
Yeah.
Sure. And some other girls. No, I think it's a good show.
You're awesome.
It is my
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. It was
you.
great meeting you. Thank you.
Good job.
So, I got to tell you guys, when I first went out there to do this, and I had mentioned it on the show, the local show that I do in L.A., a lot of pissed off women called me up, and I said, hey, sweetheart, he is still running a publishing empire. The guy took a dream, formulated it, executed it, and he built it into what it is today. And if the women would stop posing, then maybe he wouldn't have a business to run. But until these women stop, don't blame Hugh Hefner. I mean, he's just providing money for a service that, And then I was a little offended that he didn't ask me to pose. I wasn't shocked, but I was a little offended.
Put your hands together for Jay
Thanks, you
Beansy,
guys.
because she's always up and heezy for season.
Wow, the great Hugh Hefner. One of the few guys in the world who could offer me money to get naked and not make me feel cheap. Stick around and you'll learn some great ways to improve your chances of attracting women in bars. And if you're like most guys I've met, you might want to check it out. Stay tuned.